My sort of grasp of Trevor is that he wants to be heavy. He wants to be important, and he wants to be a big thinker. I don't know if he's necessarily there.
No, he's a coffee shop philosopher. He wants to be really deep and
maybe this is part of his way to draw in the ladies, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, because he's so emotional and sensitive.
Yeah,
but
look at how sensitive I am.
But in the end, he's really just, he's kind of full of shit.
Where did the name Trevor come from?
I don't know. I want the name of never met a Trevor that was a jackass, every Trevor I've known has been a kind of a cool guy.
My bass player
in high school, the Trevor was a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think in an alternate universe, I think I would be Trevor for sure. Going down similar paths and stuff, I can definitely relate. But I'd say he's more naive and less intelligent. Definitely a lot more lost. But I can definitely relate to him in certain ways.
You're just wandering aimlessly at this point. You've lost no direction. So I'm just walking towards you. Yeah, and then maybe you casually look off, and then sort of throw your arms up, sort of lean over, and looking around, and then we're gonna grab a couple pickup shots.
I've had some bad breakups, definitely. I guess who hasn't? But nothing as bad as Trevor. Knock on wood.
Being a musician and an activist and involved in social justice and touring and all of these things, I've definitely seen, witnessed, lost a lot of people, and just seen how sort of drug use affects your psyche and changes you as a person. And I think Trevor's kind of coffee shop philosopher and his sense of grandiosity about himself and his thoughts and what he thinks and how he really feels he has something to contribute to the world, and our ability to understand it is really amplified when he is doing drugs. So I think that was a big part of showing how his personality can be pushed to that extreme, and it's really just a bunch of hogwash when it comes down to it. Like he's not really giving us anything new. And perhaps part of his journey is sort of recognizing that and saying, it's okay to just be a dude.
He really looks like shit.
So it was really difficult to get back into character because that's a character I really didn't want to get back into. Because I remember days where I'd go home after filming and I'd still feel like crap. I still feel like that character, and I'd be different towards my girlfriend subconsciously because I put myself in that role, and I kind of to feel that I acted as if my girlfriend had did something wrong, and that wasn't good. I really apologize, sweetheart.
This is very different from Boomerang. I am basically here to ruin this man's life, and I do so, and I do it well. Is there another question? I play a woman who does some marriage jumping, and there is a lot of putting things off, and there's a lot of hidden emotions, and as such, there is a shit ton of manipulation. Can I say shit ton?
Her rum, and her drugs, and her sex, and her money.
And her cheating, and her wedding rings, and her gold digging.
And her sleuting.
A flute is certainly not one of your everyday sluts. She's very fancy. She's so fancy. And she's very classy that she needs a little bit of an extension of herself. It's no longer a shortcut you, but she uses a liquid you. Slute. Because she deserves that class.
One thing, I was just as cross your legs when you sit down.
Sir, that's kind. Oh dear.
I don't think I
We're
was.
not shooting Basic Instinct.
I don't think I was. I never noticed.
No, I didn't see anything. It was just I always pictured it as like she'd sit down and cross her legs and kind of, lounge with the drink kind of thing. Yeah.
She felt Taylor was a very unsympathetic character. But I think that the combination of the visual and the dialogue of Taylor makes her quite likable, actually, until you realize at the end, like, who she actually has been this whole time. I just found myself laughing out loud at all of her lines when we were going through the edit and going like, wow, like she's calling Trevor on his bullshit, really. So in spite of the fact that she's abandoned him and we never really know why until the end, maybe in the end she was kind of integral to him getting to the place where he needs to go, whether he wants to admit that or not.
I felt so, I think dubious is the word I want to go for here. I just felt very selfish, much more selfish, and much more focused on kind of a first world survival. With Boomerang, it was more of a, I'm literally out to save my own skin and fighting off imminent death, whereas this is more, I'm out to save my own skin by surviving as comfortably as I can through other people. The only way that I can sustain myself is through other people, which I think is more of a subconscious thought on her end. Than an actual forefront, who am I gonna get next?
There's so many things that I realized about how Zach and Tori brought these characters to life that went beyond anything that I thought could have been possible, which is why I think it's important to not really necessarily be tied to a narrative or an idea, because it's just ideas. Like even the way that Ryan and I work, or with the band or anything, you're not assaulting somebody personally by saying, why don't we try this instead? And I think that's something as an artist that we all need to get to that point in order to be able to collaborate properly. And I definitely learned a lot of that from Ian Smith as well, working on our last record with him, about just try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Maybe we go back to the original idea, but the point is to try everything and just let it be what it can potentially be. And often, I think, for the most part, it ended up making things a lot better.
There were definitely some high school relationships that I drew from when I was crafting Taylor. Certainly not to the same extent, but that idea of points where you know where a relationship is over for you and you are not invested, but you don't have the words to say it and you don't know how to say it. So you just try and avoid it for as long as you can. And I mean, you grow up and you learn so much from those failed relationships. Taylor hasn't. So she's just kind of hitting the same wall over and over again, and she doesn't realize it's bad until, well, much later.
It's something that I think Robb can speak to and I can speak to, but in two very different ways. I think we can relate to both these main characters, and it's just, there are even moments where I get kind of like I don't necessarily want to say that I get emotional when I watch it, but there are certain moments where I can specifically reflect on certain instances of my own romantic relationships, and I can say like that makes me think of this thing that happened, and that didn't work out so well. So like I think there's something in there for everybody, and hopefully somebody somewhere gets something out of this that helps them in some way.
She's spending all of her time going, why did this happen to me? How did I end up deserving this? Because she's not smart enough. She's not smart enough to make these connections. It's all about survival. You have the friends who you want so much for them to go and take control of their lives and make their own lives better, but they're so comfortable in what they're doing right now, and even though they're unhappy, they're comfortable and they don't want to risk that, and they're afraid of what's out there. And Taylor really needs to get out there and stop making everything about survival.
Unfortunately, I don't see a happy ending for Trevor. I think probably he'd be stuck in certain relationship patterns like this. You know, I don't like to say this about characters I portray, but I see him probably spiraling downwards, relapsing, possibly committing suicide. It's a pretty tragic character in my eyes. Yeah, I don't see a happy ending for Trevor.